Hello and welcome to Red Carpet of Hollywood. I'm your host, Marina Kufa, and today we have the honor of sitting down with a retired Chicago police officer and esteemed author, Dr. James B. Bolen. In this interview, we will delve into a compelling insights of his groundbreaking book, Fixing This Broken Thing, the American Criminal Justice System. Join us as we explore Dr. Boland's unique perspective, rooted in over 2 decades of experience within the intricate threads of the criminal justice system, and uncover his passionate call to action to reform. Without further ado, let's jump into this critical conversation with Dr. James B. Boland.
Well, how do you see individual citizen playing a role in directing elected officials to address the issue within the criminal justice system, as you mentioned before?
Well, the first thing is that we have to help guide the citizenry into understanding that it is for us that they work, that they are our employees, and that as far as power is concerned, the way this government is set up, the actual power of our government rests in two places. Place number one, the law, the federal and state constitutions. And the second place, the ballot box. Every elected office in this country is not power. These offices are replete with responsibility. Much like the way I explained to my recruits that the power was not in the star or the badge, it was in the law. That's where the power, as far as our government is concerned, it's in the law, it's in the ballot box. And that we should not be talking to a person in elected office and asking for favors. We should be directing them. You are my employee. This is what I need done. Make it happen. Or like in any other employee and employer situation, when that employee cannot handle the job, cannot live up to responsibility, that employee is replaced. Again, change our mindset as far as this old adage about you can't fight City Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, you own City Hall. Your tax dollars pay for it. These people work for you. See, and there are some about lobbyists. That's I don't see how lobbyists benefits we the people in any way whatsoever. But we tolerate them.
This is where the power is, we the people, right?
Yeah, right. That's that's where it is. So that it begins there. So, and I think that part of that curricula that I suggested be developed and inclusive in that would be the development of critical thinking skills. This is something that would come to someone's mind. My tax dollars pay this person's salary. For what reason am I treating this person like a celebrity or treating them like they're royalty? They're employees.
I have learned so much during the interview. So thank you so much. It's really great. Yeah. So what kind of message would you like to convey to readers who are considering joining the conversation and becoming agents for change after reading your book?
Well, I would again first like to ask them really how satisfied are you with the way our government is working? How safe do you actually feel? And if you come to the conclusion to which I've come, I really do not like this kerfuffle that's going on in the state houses and the on Capitol Hill, because it's really it's like an exercise. They're like, sometimes they're like children. I'm gonna take my ball and go home. It's interesting when our people on Capitol Hill are debating whether or not we're going to shut the government down. So we're going to shut the government down, and these other government employees are not going to be paid. But you know who does continue to be paid when the government shuts down?
Mm-hmm.
The members of Congress. Their paychecks don't stop.
I see.
Their paychecks don't stop at all.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them express so much concern about that, oh gosh, that crisis at our southern border and how much more support Border Patrol needs. And my goodness, they need a heck of a lot more help. But you're willing to shut the government down. You're willing to shut the government down and cut their payoff, but you still want them to show up and come to work every day. We want to defund the police. I guess in that, and I'm like, you want to defund the police. Let's think about this. First of all, let's not confuse funding for local law enforcement with the funding that federal law enforcement gets.
Thank you for breaking it down.
Huge difference there. And then secondly, when we were talking earlier about women and being sexually assaulted, while I was writing the book, I live in the Memphis area, and at that time, there was constant reports about how there were like about 15,000 untested rape kits. And this had been for years. And some of the rape kits and dated back such that even if once they got tested, I should say, the statute of limitations had expired. But then I looked a little bit deeper and found that number on a national level was over 500,000. So we're going to defund local law enforcement, and part of the budget for local law enforcement is testing these rape kits. I also don't believe, and I wrote that in the book, that there should be a statute of limitations for felony crimes against persons. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
The standard of proof should remain beyond a reasonable doubt. But I don't think that we should be rewarding an individual for being able to hide out long enough once they've committed a rape or a violent robbery. I reward them for being able to hide out long enough without being caught by saying, okay, we got a statute of limitations. You can do this and get away with it as long as you can find a way to evade being caught, which I discuss a whole lot in the book about the fact that the system is replete with too many different avenues for people to avoid or eschew responsibility for things they've done. That just should not be. Now, of course, if we want to go into a courtroom and actually attain justice.
Do we say it's not what you know, just who you know right now? This type of deal
sadly
going on?
Sadly, gosh, I could look back and some of the promotional in some departments, how some people get promoted. In our department, that person was one of the favorite sons and daughters. So we had some people that got the promotions, that worked, deserved it, they made it. But then there's also a section of people that got promoted simply because of relationships. The people they knew were their parents or their political ally background, that sort of thing. That weakens the department, and can also, for some people, give them kill their will or dampen their will to give their all, because they're not going to get the promotions, the rewards that they've earned, because they someone else that's related to a high ranking or related to somebody in government or something, that person that's reserved for them. So you do get some people like for example, I'll say right now that the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department right now, Larry Snelling, I work with that man. That is a quality, solid individual. I was really happy when they made Larry Snelling superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. Only hope for him is that the Chicago politics and then the union, that would be his only impediment, but he's a solid guy. I'd work with him without hesitation anytime. He is a really stand-up guy. The current mayor made a solid choice when he picked him.
It's good to hear. Good words, you know.
Again, like I said, when you work with the person, then you know.
I know.
I've
Then you
worked with
know.
them. Yeah, I know this guy. I'll stand up for him anytime.
Wonderful. So I was gonna ask you, are you gonna have some kind of a book signing, a promotional? How do you like to approach your audience with your Bible? I'm gonna call it the Bible.
Okay, we, we've done some. We've done some, and we'd be open to doing some more. I find out whether or not that can get how that can be arranged. Uh, but yes, we'd be more than happy to do some more because of course, we want to sell as many copies as possible, but my overall goal was I wanted the content of this book to be the source of a national dialogue. One of the most important things, I say maybe the most important thing I've ever learned, because of course I went to school for a long time and
Right.
okay, I got a Ph.D. in criminal justice. But I believe the most important thing I've ever learned is I've come to realize how much I do not know. I do not suffer from that I know everything affliction.
Mhm.
That's impossible. You can't know everything. From that I do not suffer. So if we can get these concepts that I'm advocating, get them out uh, uh, into the public domain. Let's have polemic discourse and see, because maybe there's something I've overlooked. Maybe what some of the things
Mhm.
that I've suggested can be improved upon. That's fine. But the one thing that I do know is that what we currently have is inadequate. It's not working. It really is a
Yes,
broken thing.
I think everybody can see it. So mainly, you approach in a community, so to build a community and work as a team, as a community on this topic.
Well, teamwork is dream work.
It absolutely, I agree.
Teamwork is
Yeah.
definitely because again, the issue itself that's bigger. This is bigger than the individual. And so it will take a collaborative effort. It will take people working in unison that genuinely want to see improvement, not self-congratulatory stuff or self-grandizement, but we want to improve the lot of life for everybody, not just some of the people, but all of the people.
How many people are aware of the rights they don't know the law, so I think if they have they can talk to someone like you, whether it's through messages or leaving a comments and be a part of the discussion. They have somebody to trust, and they know there is someone who has all those years of experience and practically got their back. I think that's amazing. So thank you for that.
Happy, very happy to do it because I just love helping people. I get a rush out of that. That helps me. That's the thing I appreciated most about my career, is that there were some people that I was able to actually help. Because I think back to my version. This was my version of community policing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I did, you may have seen or maybe witnessed it or seen on TV, the police officers had the young guys on the wall and they're patting them down and etc. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I put the young guys on the wall too. I gave them job leads. I told them it was illegal to be unemployed on my beat. I didn't tell them
Okay.
to go, I didn't tell them go look for a job. I said, go apply for these jobs. And so what ends up happening is that when you do this consistently,
Mm-hmm.
after a little while, when my police car pulled up, they didn't run away from my car. They ran to my car. So now there's some trust that gets
Yes.
established. And so not only I can talk to them about other things, let them know. Now,
Yeah.
again, what I'm trying to do, because one asked me, why are you doing this? And I'm like, well, see, I say, young man, if you go out and get a real job, I'm not talking about flipping burgers at McDonald's, but a
Mm-hmm.
real job, what's the likelihood you could be on the street doing crime? And if you're not committing crime, that does what for my job?
Right.
It's a lot
Right.
easier, doesn't it? See, because wasn't it Ben Franklin that said that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure?
So many of those kids, they just come from a different backgrounds. They, a lot of them, they have absolutely no guidance
That
in
right.
life, no examples. So, police
I
officers are always going to be, you know, the
the enemy.
respectful, well, the, maybe, well, definitely the enemy, but also the respected enemy. So
Yeah.
it can be the respected and the trusted, then, it can turn things around, right?
That happened for me because there were certain kids, they started calling me officer friendly. Because I said, yeah, I'm doing that.
That's,
But of course, if you mess up, I'm gonna lock you up.
mm-hmm.
Okay. But what
Yeah.
we're trying to do is create a situation where you don't mess up. And so that's why I do this research and have a new list of jobs every week. So I did have an upgraded list of job openings every week, and I made a point of disseminating that on my beat. And so
Yeah.
and then
Took the,
some of them actually they went and got the jobs.
see, because
So
they need the authority to talk to them. They probably had nobody, you know?
yeah, so because it was my experience, and I still believe that the most effective tool to address issues of crime and disorder anywhere is a police and community partnership. So we have to work in collaboration.
Yeah.
Now, to establish that, the officers themselves have to do the outreach. They have to put the work in to do the outreach because uh, like with most things in life, the individuals, that minority of individuals that do the really heinous stuff, they get most of the attention. Because statistically, people see, even with crime, 90% of crime in this country is committed by 10% of the population. Well, we
Right.
think we can, the
Mm-hmm.
focus as far as like any group, 90% of the bad stuff done by police officers is done by 10% of the police officers. And one of the faults that I found, or yeah, I'll call it a fault, with our union is that the police unions don't make it abundantly clear to the population that those guys that are doing this, that does not represent the majority of our membership. It
Correct.
doesn't represent us. We do not support what they've done. When you see what the Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd, then the union should step forward. We don't represent that. We don't support that. That was wrong.
Exactly.
That in turn, that helps establish or keeps in that relationship, that partnership with the community that's needed to effectively address issues of crime and disorder in that population, because it benefits the police officers that the crime rate goes down, because we live there too. We have family, we have friends. We don't want to see that. Yeah. So we have to work together, because the population, you're not the enemy. 10% of you, those knuckleheads, we have to deal with them.
I think this is education on the level where the public should read the book, but also I think attorney and judges maybe too.
Well, I did tell you about the one retired judge that read it. And, again, his conclusion was that good idea won't happen. It's too logical. And I've heard that from some other, attorneys or a couple. Yeah, that's okay. Good idea, but that's never going to happen in this world.
Okay. Well, we'll see. But
See,
that's maybe just the 10% is going to say that, right?
Right. And so, but in my response though is that with that defeatist attitude, you're right, it won't happen. It won't happen until we decide, okay, we're going to make it happen. But see, we have to overcome that inertia, because everybody's in that, that comfort, that comfort zone. So you have to step outside your comfort zone and decide, no, this is worth the while. This is something that we have to do. Especially if you're looking at what's going on, what are you going to be leaving your children and grandchildren? Because see, this is not getting better. It's continued on the descent. So we're going to stop that and reverse this trend. You're going to have to come out your comfort zone.
It's going to affect the generations.
Right. Put your hard hat on, roll your sleeves up, go to work.
It's a very simple message. If you could relate to the audience right now, definitely to read this book. But how I think a lot of people don't see the big picture. Then on the other end, you have people they trying to protest on the street, and they are willing to stand out there and want to be heard. What do you think they should do? Have more confidence? It's a protesting is a good way to be heard, or what do you suggest?
Well, one of the things I'm covering this in the second book is that when you decide that we're going to take this type action, had to be very careful to filter out those people that are just there to try and take advantage of situations. The rioting, that does zero, zilch, nada to affect the change. What it does, it provides ammunition for those people that want to keep the status quo going, because they change the narrative. It's not about the thing that you're protesting, it's about the manner in which you protest. So I use it in the current book, the book I'm currently writing, I use the example of the Montgomery bus boycott. It had 0 acts of violence, 0 property damage, and was supremely effective. Guide that it works. But again, 0 acts of violence, 0 property damage. So now the narrative is the thing that you're protesting, not the manner in which you're protesting.
We don't know what they can do as a single individual. Yeah, start a conversation.
You start the conversation. and then let it multiply that way. Let's start the conversation. Let's talk to some more people. Let's, start the conversation. And do remember that in this conversation, that hearing is a physical ability. Listening is a
Listening.
skill.
Thank you.
That's a skill. And then because
Yes.
when we listen to one another, we, we let people know that they're valuable, that they mean
Absolutely.
something, so that there's respect, because there has to be mutual respect if we're trying to go forward.
Well, this is really great conversation with you here. And I want to thank you so much again for your time. Definitely, I'm looking forward to a next interview
Okay.
for your chapter that is expanding.
The problem is us. It's not those people in the elected office. It's us. Or I ask this question: Have you've been to job interviews,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yes.
Okay. During your job interview, have you ever discussed the other people that were applying for the job?
Discuss the other people?
Yeah, the other
No,
candidates for the job. You
no,
talked
you
about
focus.
you, right? Okay. So in our uh in our process, when we get ready to choose someone for a particular
Mhm.
office, for what reason do we listen to their opinion of the other people that are trying to get the same job? We
Right.
listen to their opinion about them for what
Mhm.
reason? Now, during this job interview, if you were asked a question about apples, do you respond with an explanation of plums?
No.
No, but what happens in our what happens with us? See, and then you have people. I want to run. I want to be the next mayor, and my plan is
Mhm.
this, and this. And when they, because my plan reduce crime, and to do this, that's not a plan, sir. That's a goal. Your plan is a
Right.
step-by-step process that you want to enact to achieve that goal. But
So,
again, that's what we, the people, have accepted. So
yes.
we accept it, and this is what we have. Like I said, we had this kerfuffle that we have right now in state and local government, state, federal. That's where
Oh,
we are, because we've accepted this. It will not get better until we, the people, decide, okay, that's it. We're not going to have this any longer.
thank you so much for your time. This was a
Thank you for
great
your time. I
interview.
appreciate.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I'm really looking forward to hear more about the extension of chapter 6.
Right. I have to get this book finished.
Tell me how people can find you, can find your book. I believe it's on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Google Play, and Apple iTunes.
And thank you so much for educating me today.
Thank you so much for having me.